Sparky, welcome to Talking Pigeons.
Thank you.
Thanks for making time here. You're one of the most interesting pigeon guys around, and we'll get to that reason. Because you're one of the few guys that's transitioned from the one side of the feathers, which we'll talk about, to the racing side, and from the highest point in the one side of pigeons, you've come over and you've achieved champion status already in the other side. So starting off with the one side is the roller pigeons, the Birmingham Rollers, or as the South African guys call them, the imports. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about how you started that. And
I started from a young boy, I can remember 4 or 5 years old. My father had them all the way through. I grew up with all of them, and we still had the old type of birds, the local ones, and then we changed to the new imports, the mason birds, the Zans birds and all that. So that's basically where we started with that.
And give us a little bit of rundown on how the competitions work with that?
So we've got basically a World Cup fly every year. That there's about 48 countries that fly in that competition.
Sure, it's big, eh?
There's about 740 entries in that competition. Yeah. Guys that enter through different regions to fly in that competition.
And who judges that thing?
Normally the guy that's the World Cup winner gets a free entry to do the judging, but if he's not allowed, the panel voted in a guy, and then that guy will do the judging.
So he has to travel all around?
He has to travel all around, yes.
Okay. And what's the criteria for the...
Firstly, you have to do an eye test at least. That's one of the criteria you have to, and you have to be wealthy at least to travel, because it's a lot of traveling. You're away from home for 2.5 months.
That's a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And then how do they judge your birds then on that?
So normally,
for some of us that are not...
Then you fly 20 birds.
Okay.
You fly 20 birds, more than 5 must go to get a score. So between 5 and 9, you get a basically score 5 to 9. From 9 to 14, you get double score. Your score get multiplied. And 15 to 19 is times 3, and then 20 is times 5.
Sure.
And then you get a quality and depth factor at the end of the day, the quality and the depth of your birds.
And then how long do you have to fly those?
20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah. After 15 minutes, you're free. If your birds land before 15, you get disqualified.
So how many times have you flown this World Championship?
Our South Africans guy, the first fly was in 1999.
And have you been flying ever since?
I flew every year until 2019 with COVID. With COVID, we didn't have any World Cup flies until last year. We only started.
And give us some of your results then.
I've won the World Cup before. I was second, third. I've done really well in the South African part of the...
Yes, so you've done very, very well, man.
And then we've got local competitions like a nationals, open class, yearlings, babies. We've got an interregional fly as well.
And you've done well in
I've done well. I've won the nationals how many times, the yearlings how many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done very,
I've
very
done well in the competition.
And then what made you transition from rollers to racing pigeons?
With the rollers, I've done well over the years. I thought of something different. When I was a young boy, I always loved the racing pigeons. I used to go to, there was a guy, Francois Kruger. I used to run up to his house and go sit on the Saturday and watch the racing pigeons. My father never had any interest in racing pigeons. He didn't like them because a roller guy never likes a racing pigeon. Yes. So in 2012, I decided, after I've done well with the rollers, I decided now I want something more bit of a challenge. Okay. And then I started with the racing pigeons.
So when you say you started, how did you decide? You obviously did some investigations. You obviously
Francois at that time, Francois was still there. I used to go to Francois, and then there was the guys, Henny and Vanessa. I used to go to them, and I said, I want to start. So at first, the guys, they just give you all the rubbish, and then you must realize, no, you're not going to fly well if you start doing that.
Yeah. You got to get the same with the rollers.
The same with the rollers, you have to get the quality. And then I went to all different guys, get different birds. I don't even have to mention names. And you pay school fees because you don't get the best birds out of them. So my first year or two, I was battling because...
So you stuck
you
it out.
didn't know all the structures and this and that. everybody told me to go buy that small little book of Piet Schoeman, and then I started going into that and learning and stuff like that.
And that's a good basic.
It's a good basic book, that.
Yeah, very good. And then who would you say put you, let's call it the right track, to start getting the right birds?
I joined the Rising Pigeon Club with Jan van der Bos and Kobus van Wijngaard that time and all that. And then there was a guy, Eddie Renda. When I started racing pigeons in Rising, and Eddie saw where I was living, he said, "You're wasting your time, don't even start." And then I was starting getting birds from Jan gave me birds, and this guy gave me birds, and it didn't work. And then
Did you get any birds from Eddie?
I tried to get birds from Eddie, but Eddie always said, "No, I don't got my hearing aid in." So yeah, I didn't get birds from Eddie. I tried before, but Eddie was he had good birds.
Very good birds. Because I mean, he made history this time.
He made history.
He came, yeah.
Then I met Paul Pedro.
Oh, another good fancy.
So Paul wanted rollers that time. He wanted to start with rollers.
Okay.
And I met Paul through, there was a guy that was the secretary of the TRPF at that time. I can't even, Rian, I think his name was Rian. So he introduced me to Paul. So I helped Paul with rollers, and then we swapped racing pigeons for rollers, me and Paul.
Okay.
That's why I started getting really good birds from Paul Pedro.
Paul was a good one.
Yeah, so Paul bird changed my loft a lot.
Do you know what you got from Paul? Out of what lines of these?
Paul had a lot of birds that root of pigeons.
Yes.
I had some of that root of, there was a Denora in and stuff like that.
Yeah, he had some of the original Denoras.
He gave me a cock, the cock's number was 80.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Today, take this pigeon, it will change." And that, I had a 3-time winner out of that cock, everything. So
Is it?
Paul never, he wasn't shy to give you good pigeons, never.
Yeah.
And he's not one of the guys that wanted money for pigeons. Paul wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So Paul changed my setup about pigeons a lot. I went to Paul a lot. I took his program from he had a pin board. I took it from his board, and I got some basics right, and that's where I started flying.
Yeah, because he was also Federation champion.
He was Federation champion.
Yeah, Paul was a very good one.
And then there was Eddie Renda used to give birds to a guy with the name Johan van Tonder. So Johan van Tonder was a local guy in our local club, and Johan bred 2 millie pigeons to an auction, and I bought that birds, and that then was a 3-4-time winner for me in the next year when I raced her. And she had of Eddie's birds blood in that end.
Okay.
So I got that million. The 1 week she went with 24 minutes, then she went with 19 minutes, then 14 minutes. That was a brilliant pigeon. So I wanted more of that bird, so I approached Johan. I've got here and there more of that birds. And then I was looking at the background of that millie pigeons, and it came from Ken.
Okay,
From
so you
Ken
went
Grove.
to Ken Grove, yeah,
So then I approached Ken Grove, and I said, "Now I want more of this pigeon." So I approached Ken, and I got more and more pigeons of Ken.
Yeah, so Ken was, I met Ken, Sparky, probably 25 years ago. And then he was already, they didn't call it a federation or a union, they had another name for the organisation out that area. And then already was the champion there. And then he also bred and you can ask him because you're quite friendly with him. And I'm going to tell you a little story about him now quickly. Then he bred a bird that won the club championship at the old $1 million. Was also bred by Ken Groves. But I want to tell you a quick little story about me and Ken because I don't know him. I've only met him once. And this is what happened on the one time that I met him. I went with a friend of mine, Neil Beach, and he said, "Come, I'm going to go visit a friend of mine in Stilfontein." We tossed the birds Saturday morning, and he said, "We'll have breakfast there." And so I said, "Okay." Visiting another fancier, and he's a top fancier, so it's nice. Didn't really know much about pigeons, I'm just racing, I'm starting out. And anyway, we end up in Stilfontein, in grass patch in front of Ken's house. We let the birds go. Get into Ken's house, his wife, his wife, I couldn't remember her name, she had made us breakfast and everything. And he says, "Okay, come, let's handle some birds." Now you're a novice and you're young and you're starting out and you're handling birds, you like birds. Yes, and then there was this one here that I loved. And also a strain that I loved in those days was the Bushards. And Ken had just brought him in with a friend of his, I can't remember his name, but the name was from Nelspruit. And they had swapped. So I said, yo, I love this hen. I love this pigeon is. And she was on eggs at that stage. So we're handling birds, and this is little stories you remember when you're young and guys do these things. So we went, he said, no, we're going back to that loft there, took the head off the eggs, took the eggs out, placed them under another pair, and he said, yeah, take this hen home with you.
Sure.
Yeah, she turned out to be a cracker hen. That's the kind of guy I
you see, Ken was always, he's honest and he gives you some of the best pigeons.
Yeah, and I mean...
So that milling hen I told you about, that the milling hen's mother was bred out of a pair that came from Ken.
Okay.
And that being the Bloemfontein hen, went 3 weeks in a row, she won the division. And I went to Ken and I wanted the parents. And so I got the father of that hen.
Yeah.
And then I bought sisters and brothers and all that.
Okay.
And when Ken stopped, I bought all that pigeons from him.
So you got that whole family of his.
So I was going through the stock birds and all Ken's birds, there's not one that you can't even, you gave me good pigeons.
Yeah. But he's also older and he was very good.
He's old, he changed a lot of ideas with me. He's not flying, but every week on a Saturday night, where's the results?
Excellent, still keen.
Still keen.
Yeah.
I'm going to breed him babies to send to a guy in Groblersdal now, so we're going to swap babies. He's asking me all the time.
Okay, nice.
So
tell us a bit about your results now the last couple of years. And I know you've moved the house as well.
Yeah.
Last year was a bit of a...
So I used to fly in the Horizon Pigeon Club the year before I moved. I had a good season that year. I stayed far off the boundaries for wherever we used to fly the GRPF. So for me to fly well in the GRPF, it wasn't easy. But I've won Horizon Pigeon Club, the young birds, the old birds. I was the club champion in Horizon as well, so I've done well. And all the years from I started, I was trying to fly in the West Rand, that side where I stay now. And they didn't want to accept me because I was only one house out of the boundaries. They didn't want to take me.
Oh, shit.
So with my son growing up, going to high school, we decided to buy a house in that area. So with things going difficult, I moved 3 weeks before the season. I had to move my pigeons to fly in the West Rand. So I had to move the loft, everything, and break the pigeons in.
I remember, yeah.
So at first you were, I don't know what's going to happen and stuff, but the first week I raced, I had a win. The first week I raced from the new house. So the first couple of 3-4 weeks in the new house, Leanne and Brent had to go and stand with a flag and flag the bird to go back to the new house. So I sorted them in the time that flew it, and the ones that stayed, I was racing them, the other ones got rid of. So I had a good season. Yeah,
how was your season then with the breaking birds?
The breaking the birds, the younger birds were right, the old birds I was battling in the beginning. But towards the end of the season, I've won the young birds, I've won the middle distance, the long distance. I've got the best long distance birds in the union. I've done well in that.
You've done very well. And give us some of those top fanciers that you're flying against it at the guys know that
there's Mel van Schoor in my club, there's Robert Spark from the guy that's doing all the grid, and Sparky from the grid, there's Bram from Mollendorf, Chris Harms, and in the union there's good names as well, Koert Grobler, Steer Painter,
very good,
Thijs Steenkamp, Gerard van Aswegen, there's good flyers.
Top. So you're in top competition there.
So there's top competition, so the first year I think I've done well. Hopefully this year we're looking forward.
We don't have, they said your young birds that are proper old birds now.
I've got young birds that's proper old birds now, a strong team for this year. So, and then looking forward.
So if you had to look back on your journey now, transitioning from the rollers and then getting straight into the racing pigeons, and I'll give you my opinion, and then you can tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And then how you change that. I find, being at the shop a lot, I find the roller pigeon guys, maybe it's because they don't mix birds and that, they're not as up to date with medication and keeping the birds healthy when it comes to vaccinations and canker, the basic deworming,
Yeah, the roller guys don't do that stuff.
and the flies and the mites.
The roller guys don't do that. They spend not money like we do on the racing pigeon.
Yeah.
And for me, flying rollers and races, if I inject the rollers, I inject the races. If I do box, I do the races and
All of them.
I deworm them, I canker them, everything.
So
My birds are on a 10-day course of antibiotics now.
Yeah.
My rollers are did exactly the same because the racing pigeons come from all the way. They'll bring it home, you don't know.
no, sure,
And
sure,
I'm
sure.
scared.
Yeah, 100%. But were you like that before racing pigeons, or did you?
I was always a moody guy. I used to medicate the rollers
You
as
did?
well. I
Okay.
did medicate the rollers as
And the
well.
vaccines?
I did it always.
You did the vaccines.
I vaccinated them, I boxed my birds all these years. My
Okay.
father was very strict with that. And we
Okay, so you
yes,
used
yeah.
And then the other thing I found is also the flies, the pigeon fly and the lice. But the roller guards, they're not
They don't worry about it,
What,
but
not too concerned about that, eh?
I'm concerned about it.
So even with your rollers from before that, you've been
I've been doing that.
you've been doing that.
Especially if guys visit you and they handle the pigeon or whatever, and we get the roller guys from overseas, we don't want him handling a bird and there's a fly going and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I was very strict with that.
So you're very strict.
So in the rollers you will hear the guys is talking about Sparkes got bit powder or whatever, and it's a moody that I've got because that's why I'm winning and this and this. So always with the rollers I was a moody guy.
Keeping the birds healthy.
There was stuff you don't get it, sulfametazine. I
Yeah,
used
yeah,
that a
yeah.
lot in the racing. There was CCP, you
Yeah.
don't get it anymore.
Yeah,
Sulfametazine.
you don't get.
There was magnesit like packets, I think the racing guys used to use it as well on the long distance.
So you used all of that.
We used all of that. I used
Okay.
all of that. So I was a moody guy. I used a lot of basic stuff from that Piet Schoeman book.
Yes, yeah. And
So
that's,
you'll see there's a mixture that I did. I used it for the rollers
so
as
you
well.
talk about that furazole and
Thailand, Enteromycin, and then they
Yes.
added Avasol. We
Avasol,
used that with the rollers.
Yeah.
And there was that salt mixture.
Yes.
I dissested rollers.
Did
It's not
you?
they were dying, but I dissested rollers.
And
Up to
recovered well.
today.
Yes,
Yeah, definitely. Two
that's
weeks
interesting.
before a big fly, dissested rollers.
Ah, that's interesting, eh? And tell me, do you dissect all the race pigeons?
Definitely.
And how long? Also 2 weeks. 2 weeks before a race, yeah.
Definitely.
And we give the salt mixture with that.
Salt mixture, everything.
Everything with. So you trust in that
Definitely.
basic.
Yeah. I dissect all birds. I don't.
And then just going back on a bit of the bloodlines that you've got now. We've spoken a bit about.
So I went to Ken, like I told you, I
Yeah.
bought all the birds from Ken that was related to that birds, and then that Johan van Tonder guy, I went try from Johan to get more of that birds as well. So I got a lot of birds from Johan, and then Johan decided to pack up. Johan didn't go on, so I went to buy all that birds just to get a couple of birds from that.
Yes.
So that's where I got the whole of Eddie's birds.
Out of that.
From Van Tonder. So Eddie helped Johan a lot. He gave Johan a lot of his birds. So I bought all the birds from Johan to get some of that bloodline of Eddie.
Okay.
So my birds is basically birds from Paul Pedro, Ken Grove, Eddie, and then I've got a here and there brilliant pigeons of Wally.
Yeah, so if you can just mention Wally a bit, Shane,
So
it's
there is a
very
grizzle
ill at
hen,
the
yeah.
moment.
So there's a grizzle hen that Leon de Villiers bought from Wally that I got from Leon. He bred my son a hen 651. She was a 5-time winner in one season.
Sure.
So I wanted the father passed on, so I couldn't get the father. So I got the hen from Leon, and that hen bred me the 4 best young birds in the club last year.
And so, sorry, just getting back, that ends from Wally.
That's a Wally.
Is she a grizzle then?
She's a grizzly.
Okay.
She was a fed winner as well, if I'm correct.
Okay, yeah. So those grizzles of Wally are his old blood with that new
His old
Decurnic,
line, yeah.
that new Decurnic
And
stuff.
she's got front line cooking in
That
the
from right,
background as
yes,
well.
yeah, that was his goal.
So she's one of my better stock hens at this stage. She's breeding brilliant pigeons, that hen. So I mated her to a cock from Ken, and they bred me the 4 best young birds in the club. All the nest mates.
Okay.
So the same pair.
So now, so that's what I was going to get back to now. Besides obviously for novices you need good birds. That's the
Definitely.
bottom line. Whether it's with rollers or with, I'm not too sure about rollers, if you can make them roll faster or spin or
It's
whatever.
the family, same with the racing pigeons.
Genetics, yeah. So with the racing pigeons, it's genetics. But what would you say to a novice that can get the right birds? What's the right way to start a basic program?
If I'll start over again,
yes, yeah.
if I'll start over, I'll buy babies from guys. I won't buy grown-up pigeons because
Why would you say that? And then
when I started off, they're just selling you all the rubbish, the birds they don't want and stuff like that. But now, like the grizzly I've got,
yes,
the grizzly's got a brother and a sister, but they are not as good as that hen.
yes, yes.
I don't want the brother and sister, I want that pigeon. So if I started off, I'll get babies because the guy don't know the quality of the babies.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely give babies.
You'll get babies, and then regarding a program, what would you give us a bit of a rundown of your program? We don't want any of your trade secrets, but your basic program, and then how a youngster, because what we're trying to do is get out to the novices, yeah, because now it's very difficult for them to get tips and get advice.
So what I basically do, I only change my Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, my moody day, Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
The birds also get back on, I use this Ben salts, they get back on Ben salts.
Yeah.
The purative mix on basketing day. On a normally on a Sunday morning, I'll give them onion, garlic, bitter alvine, tea, stuff like that, mix in the morning.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, I'll start with the moody.
And then training wise?
Training wise, I race my pigeons hard every week.
Do you?
Every week.
And so pre-season, how do you go? Do you have a pre-season program?
What
I'm talking about a medication program, and then
yeah,
do you?
I've got a pre-season program. I started with a 10-day bait roll treatment
Okay.
that I'm almost done with. So I've got a 10-day bait roll treatment, then I'll keep them off for a week or so, then I'll put them 10 days on Primaquin. But I'll use the Primaquin double strength. I think it's better if you use a double strength.
Yeah.
And then I'll take them off another week and I'll put them on a amoxicillin for 10 days as well.
Okay.
So that's what I normally do.
So
Then I wait for 2 weeks before the fly, and then I'll heat them with a digester or I'll worm them.
Okay. And a canker and coxie?
Canker and coxie I normally do on a Sunday, so I change that.
So always on the Sunday?
Always on the Sunday.
Always on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so when you say you do this, then how long before the season do you start this, and then when do you start your training?
I opened the birds the first time over this weekend.
Okay.
So I'll only start in the middle of April, so I've got a 1 month from now on to get them right. So,
Okay. And then when you say
at least I want 5 or 6 tosses before the pre-season truck run.
before the truck runs?
Yeah.
And then how far do you take them before the season starts? What's your first?
I normally don't toss 20, 10, whatever. My first toss I'll go to Van der Bijl.
Which is how far for you?
It's about 70 k's for me now.
That's not too bad,
Yeah, so I'll take my first toss to
Is that babies as well?
I'll take my babies, but I'll only take my babies alone.
Okay.
I normally start with the old birds like 2 weeks after I work with the younger ones.
Okay. Yeah, always.
Just get my younger, old birds get fit faster enough than the old younger birds.
Yeah. And then what sort of racing mixture do you change? Do you?
So Ken put me on a mix that I bought over the last 3 years and I've done really well. So I buy my fruits from a guy, Gili. He makes the mix for me. I think it's the old Andre mix.
Yes. Yeah.
So I buy 20 bags from him and I buy 20 bags from Fleet. That's the Andre mix, and I mix them. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's a good
That's the mix in the afternoon that they get. In the morning they get the pellets and the purative mix.
Oh, so so I just want to get that right. So in the morning they get the full mix.
Yeah.
And in the afternoon they get the pellets and
the purative
mix.
Other guys do it
the other way around.
I don't do it like that.
And explain to me why.
I think because I toss hard. I don't know.
So you want them to have a proper
meal
when they get home.
When I get home.
Okay, that makes sense. And that racing mix of yours got quite a bit of protein in it.
Yeah.
So
it's a protein mix.
Okay, then just now you mentioned you race your birds hard. Explain that to me.
I race them every week. If they're ready, they go. Every week. So what I do is the first ones that I want from the race, last year I raced 14s in the West End.
Okay.
So the better ones I move to the 18 all the time, move the better ones and the rest I race.
Okay, so if a bird scores in the first whatever, it goes back to the race.
Back.
And what do you do with it during that week then?
I don't toss them, I only fly them around the loft.
Every day?
Every day.
Once a day?
Once a day.
And the long toss on the Saturday?
The birds has left over on normally known on the sprints or the Kroonstad.
So either one of them
Either
will
one of
go?
them they'll go. That's
Okay.
it.
So either one of them they go?
This year, I got it from the middle distance. I start tossed in the afternoon. I don't let them out in the morning. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wait. Every day, 5 minutes, I let them go later. That's it. Then I don't fly them in the afternoon.
Okay. Now you said, I know you said your tips would be for a novice to buy babies. But coming from your background with the rollers, and obviously you've got your hands on some good stock birds because you've bred good birds. What is your advice to breeding? Do you inbreed? Do you line breed? Can you explain a bit of your breeding methods?
At this stage, I didn't do any line breeding or interbreeding because I'm just trying to get my hand on a family. So for now, I only got Ken and that Eddie Renda birds and some of Paul's birds that I want to start a family with.
And from the roller side, did you
The roller side I did. A half brother, sister, full brother, sister, that's why I...
would you go there closest
Yeah,
for brother, full sister?
definitely. For stock, definitely.
For stock?
Yeah.
And would they fly or not?
No, I put them away.
Is it?
Yeah, every year I put them and breed a couple and put them away to keep the family just going. Yeah.
And do they produce performance?
Definitely. I've got a cock that's, I think, 3 times brother, sister that's breeding brilliant pigeon. 2 333 is his number.
3 times?
Brother, sister, brother, sister, brother, sister.
Sure, that's and there's no deformities, no...
They just get smaller, the rollers get smaller.
Okay.
With the interbreeding, they get smaller.
But obviously you cross him out.
I cross them out. If I can get a good family or whatever, I'll cross them.
And would you advise any of that kind of breeding with racing pigeons from what you've seen?
I don't think so, no.
Why do you say
I
that?
think the more bloodlines there's in a racing pigeon, the better they fly.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, a lot of guys, some guys inbreed.
yeah, they
Success,
to keep
but-
the family going.
Yeah.
But I see with the racing birds, the more families there's in the bloodline, the better they race.
Yeah, so performance-wise, because it's a different, it's more athletic.
Yeah,
So you need and more thinking because the bird
Yeah.
needs to. I always call it the GPS in the brain to get back home. So it needs that and the physical attributes.
there's a guy that always said to me, if the birds don't have sprits in them, they won't get home. They're clever birds.
Yeah.
What must we do?
Yeah. Then before we started the podcast, you mentioned that a friend of ours, yours, mine, who's a very good fancier out that way, came to select some of your birds.
I still went through some of the stock birds.
And what did he have to say?
There's really good birds. He said there's normally in the loft there's a lot of more good hens than cocks,
Mm.
and he couldn't believe how many good cocks there is and lesser hens than good cocks.
Okay, that's always a good sign.
That's a good sign. So I'm very happy with the outcome of that because there's a lot of good cocks. Normally you don't get brilliant cocks.
Do you know who also likes that? Is a good friend of ours. Is the pigeon whisperer, Mr. Joe. Yeah, he says he prefers more better cocks.
Cocks
than
than
dogs.
hens,
Yeah. So it's just interesting.
So I was very happy. Out of the 150 birds, there was 55 that I took out. So I'm happy.
So he selected. That's a very high hit rate.
Yeah. So in the too much birds is not healthy. I don't think. It's good.
No. But
So
I think
I was one of those guys. If you see a good one and a good pedigree, you buy it and you buy it, and you never get a chance to breed from it. And the birds sit there and get old, whatever.
So what is your opinion on pedigrees? I don't know about the roller side, but the races. Well, let's start with the roller side. What's
The
your
roller
opinion?
side, definitely there must be a pedigree about a pigeon. At least
Okay.
we must have a history behind it.
Okay.
So I'm very strict about it. For me, I've got built my own family over from 2008. I've got the same pigeons of rollers. So
Yes, so
my
that's
bird's got a basic pedigree.
Okay.
So
and
with the races, I think a good pedigree, at least a basic, just to go back on to know where
do
you
you
go.
look at it when you?
I look at it, but I don't. Normally, I put the best to the best. That's what I admire.
On performance.
On performance, yeah.
And Look, with the rollers, I don't know about the handling and that, but you know, in racing pigeons, we get a lot of guys that handle
the eye, the
select
throat and stuff
all
like
that
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do you look at any? Do you?
I look at it, so I normally learn from guys like Joe and Steer and all that big guys. So
Yeah. So you take a bit of that into
you
account.
take a bit of that in account, yeah.
So what do you give us an idea? So just a few tips. I know Joe's big on the. Joe likes the throat and the wing and.
Joe likes the throat and the wing, and Painter is more like the throat on top and the bottom. So that's a good sign of the pigeon, definitely.
And then obviously the build, the structure.
I like a smaller pigeon. I don't like a big pigeon.
Okay.
I like a smaller pigeon. I don't like bigger pigeons. Yeah.
So you based your selection now on those
smaller pigeons.
Smaller
I
bird.
want smaller pigeons.
Smaller pigeons.
Yeah.
And then the size of your stock and the size of your race team, average per year.
Yeah, I've got a lot of birds at this stage because I'm still trying to find the better family. So I've got a lot. I've got about 44 old birds and about 200 babies.
Okay.
So
you're obviously going to toss hard this year.
I'm going to toss hard and get them going in the beginning,
Yeah. And then, how long did it take you? I know you said 2 or 3 years you bought some birds and some, but how long did it take you to become a top competitor in racing pigeons?
When I started, Eddie said, "Nah, you're wasting your time." And then the first year I went 2 or 3 races, and then afterwards maybe 4 or 5, and then we got more. So it took me time to become a better fancier. But I think the last 4 years is better for me.
So the last 4 years being your best?
My best, definitely.
Yeah. And then last year obviously being champion.
Last year was last year was club champion of KRPS. The year before I was club champion of Horizon Pigeon Club.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's excellent. So that's how many years after switching over that you became champion?
Yeah, before that I was club champion as well in Horizon. So I think from I started, after the 5th year, I started to win the young birds. 1 year I win the young birds, then I win this, then I've got the best bird in the club like that.
Yeah, so you've been...
I've been there,
yeah.
But you didn't have that big amount of good birds.
Yes.
You still had to sort them because you had a lot of rubbish, because you still had to sort them.
For sure.
You still got into it and got into it.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm trying at this stage what worked for me.
Yeah,
and I'm getting the birds that's working for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good new families and stuff like that, so I'm not worried about that. I want the birds that work for me.
Yes, yeah, they work in your loft.
They work in my
suit your hand and your program.
So I got babies from different guys last year that I'm going to race the first time this year as well. So I've got 20 babies from Gerard, that Casboo stuff that I'm going to race.
Very, very good piece.
I got 50 birds from Egbert O'Kelly that I'm going to race this year as well.
Yes, top fancier.
So I'm going to
he was champion your bus.
Yeah.
He was champion your bus.
I think he's got some brilliant pigeons in his loft, but I'm going to try to sort them out myself.
Yeah. No, he is.
So there was 2 cocks that Leon de Villiers got, and I wanted some of that birds because that birds flew in front all the time. And that's when I approached Egbert as well and said, I want some of that.
Okay.
So I bought babies, like I said to you, I want babies and get my own from there.
Yeah, and then from those you can put
so I got 50 babies from Egbert and I've got 20 from Gerard.
You nice to see how they compete against each other.
They must just work into my program and follow my, I think they will.
They will, those are...
So Gerard is a brilliant fancier as well, and Egbert himself as well.
Yeah, no, those are two top fanciers. So Gerard I haven't raced against, but Egbert I've raced against, so I know exactly how
he's got good birds.
He's got the very best.
Yeah,
and he also doesn't hold back to spend to buy.
He's putting money.
He puts money into it and he buys the best.
And it's good for us to go to a guy like that because he helps us getting that birds.
Exactly. That's my point I make a lot of times, Sparky, is when we need guys like Egbert or Gerard or Tyron Barnard or Roland Bauer. These guys bring in these super birds from Belgium. They race them and eventually Alwyn Bester, mustn't forget him, Fred Poetser, they buy these top bloodlines and then eventually they start going out and then later on the whole level in South Africa raises because of this these birds.
Those guys getting that
Birds in that blood, yeah. And that's what used to happen with the $1 million.
And the nice thing with Egbert and Gerard, we helped them to raise the bird and to see to get the best out of them.
100%. And their stock lots as well, yeah.
Especially Egbert that's only got
Only
birds all
all
over.
over.
He's got a breeding station, whatever, so we'll help him to sort the birds out.
And then sorts his stock out there
and
and
get the best out of
yeah,
them,
yeah.
So I'm very, 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 very excited about the babies.
Yeah. And Egbert, I can tell you from experience, because obviously I've raised him and I've seen, he's a very good stockman. He knows how to mate up, he knows how to pair.
I think he's got good birds.
Yeah, and obviously he's got the right birds.
Definitely.
Yeah, so he's done.
That Tom Locke van Line Kilkerry pigeons.
Sure. I mean, that made history I can't remember the amount, but the amount that they've won for him, it's crazy. It's mind blowing. But then he's taken the risk, you know.
He's taking the risk.
To bring new ones
in.
And he's been, you know, done the Belgian tours, gone to visit Pippa, gone to visit Marcel Albrecht to bring in those birds. So he's done it.
And Gerard as well, I didn't know the Karlsruhe pigeons, and Gerard, I approached Gerard, if you talk to Gerard, I asked him 3-4 years ago already, I want some of the Karlsruhe pigeons, and I couldn't get my hand on them.
Yeah.
So the year before just before I moved, I bought her in from Gerard that was a combine winner. She was a 2-time combine winner, and I bred with her, and last year I had 4 winners from the same end.
You know what's also interesting about them, Sparky? I can tell you here in the shop when I ask a lot of guys about best birds, I like best birds, or there's the guys call them ace pigeons, or and a lot of the times, I mean in the last few years, 80% of the time, it's become that this part of it is that Karlsruhe pigeons in the best birds.
Definitely.
So there must be something in them that's making them work.
I don't have enough of them yet, but at least I got that in from.
But I think Gerard got the best. I think Billy brought some of them in.
Yeah.
And they did phenomenally well for Billy as well. And for guys that Billy is.
It's got muscle and they like to work. The way I raise pigeons every week, I think they cost pigeons like that.
I think so. Yeah.
That's why I got more of that to use with whatever I'm gonna do. So let's see. Pigeons.
Yeah. No, I think you'll do. Actually, I know they'll do well.
Yeah.
They'll do well.
I only got one in from him, and that in
already produced for me. Showed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got no babies from anybody else.
I got 15 babies from Gili, the guy that I normally buy food from. So we made a fair swap, me and Gili. I bred him 15 and he bred me 15. Yeah. So he makes my food or whatever. So we swap, and I gave him 15 and he gave me 15. So
very good fancier.
Very good fancier, and I was impressed. They were clever pigeons. So I didn't lose one of them around the loft. All 15 is still there. So. Me and Gili got good friends over the last 3 years that I buy food from him. We swap a lot of ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
We share Muti and share whatever and positive.
Yeah, he's a very good. And so you got from Gili, from Egbert, from Gerard?
Gerard, that's it, yeah.
Nothing from the Whisperer?
Nothing from the Whisperer this
year.
From the Whisperer
this year?
At least I had 1 or 2 that I bred from.
Yeah, and hopefully they do something for you.
Yeah, there's a good blue body that I got from Joe that I think is going to be good babies.
Okay.
That was one of the steer rated very good. The blue body, yeah.
Okay.
So I bred with her, I've got babies from her, and steer even told me to mate that hen to a certain cock, and he think I'll breed brilliant pigeons. So I'm going to do it this year.
Yeah, and he's quite clued up with that.
Yeah, so Joe bred me 10 babies last year. I think I still got 3 left. That worked into my way I'm tossing and working, so as older birds I think they'll be better.
Now 2-year-olds are definitely
2-year-olds they will be better. So
no, definitely.
I'm not fast to kill a young bird, I'll keep it for the next year, so I think
I'm very similar to that.
Yeah.
If they make the season,
I'll keep them
for the next season. And that's a lot of the times the birds that perform better the next year. Yeah, because they've matured and
better.
Yeah.
And at least the birds that I've got now, they are settled at the new house and stuff like that. Last year,
crazy.
The guys couldn't believe the birds is going back to the new house already, and I'm
Yeah.
racing, so
Yeah.
I'm winning from the new house. What must we do?
No, that's fantastic. Sparky,
Yeah.
thank you very much for coming along.
100%.
We appreciate it. Well done for your transition. I mean, that takes a hell of a lot of courage to do that and
Yeah.
determination to get there. And you've given us some good tips. And maybe we pop out sometime and come visit you and check your setup and
Yeah,
look
no
at some other
problem.
birds.
100%.
Thank you very much.
All right, Russell.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.